Today is Armistice Day, and I can't help but wonder if the people who laid down their lives for this country could see it now, would they think it had all been worth fighting for? Every single year there appears to be some big national debate as to whether or not our greatest ever leader, Winston Churchill, was a hero or a villain. Hero. Simple. We actually spend more time talking about Churchill's moral compass than Hitler's, which I find a bit weird. I wonder what people who fought and died for this country would make of the fact that we have veterans sleeping rough on the streets but illegal immigrants in four-star hotels. You've got more chance of being looked after in this nation if you pay a people smuggler a few grand, get in a small boat, chuck your passport in the channel, lie about your age and enter Britain illegally than you do if you serve Queen, now King and country in active service, but are struggling with PTSD or to adjust to normal civilian life. I wonder what they'd make of the fact that some of those sent to fight in my opinion, an illegal war by Tony Blair, who had their legs blown off by an IED, aren't able to get a roof over their heads or mental health care. But people who leave this country to go and wage jihad with Islamic State in Syria, for example, can come back to Britain and live in a council house. In fact, I wonder what they think about the fact that we allowed a radical Islamist hate preacher to plan a protest through the town of Wootton Bassett, where the coffins of fallen heroes pass through on their way to their final resting place. Anjem Choudhury, who wants to impose Sharia law in the UK, is free to walk the streets. I wonder what they'd make of lawyers putting more time and energy into making sure ISIS bride Shamima Begum was allowed to return back home than making sure local councils enforce the military covenant, the Armed Forces Covenant, which is designed to give veterans priority social housing and mental health care. I wonder what they think when they see a bunch of school children burning the Union flag outside an inner-city London school, or that many young people now think the older generation, especially those who proudly wave that Union flag, are probably racist, backward gammons. Or what about when they see us considering paying billions of pounds of your money, taxpayers' money, to say sorry for having an industrial revolution, or that young boys and girls are being subjected to sexualised drag shows in schools and doctors can mutilate their genitals because they feel as though they might have been born into the wrong body? What about when they see police officers asking eco-nutters led by some weird cult leader if they'd like a cup of tea and biscuits when they glue themselves to a road and stop someone going to a relative's funeral? I wonder what they'd make of wokeism. I wonder what those people who fought and died for our freedoms would have made of a government locking people down several times for a virus that, in my view, was probably man-made in a laboratory in China, with a low death rate and people being told that they would lose their jobs if they didn't get a vaccine that, frankly, seemed to make a pretty minimal difference anyway. On Armistice Day, we bow our heads and we fall silent and we remember the fallen. But we should also think about veterans who are still alive today and how we treat them. I can't help but feel that illegal immigrants, terrorists, environmental extremists, spoilt brats, quack scientists are all treated much better right now than both ordinary patriotic British people and, more importantly, our veterans. And that is not what people fought and died for.